There is something meaningful you truly need to hear right now, especially if your heart has been feeling exhausted, confused, or silently full of hope lately. Somewhere beyond what your physical eyes can notice, a heart connected to yours has just arrived at a powerful moment of deep inner realization. There was no dramatic confession or loud emotional scene, only a quiet but powerful decision that completely shifted the direction of what happens next. At this very moment, while your day may appear completely ordinary, something profound inside them has changed permanently. They have finally stopped resisting what they genuinely feel and pretending this rare connection means absolutely nothing to them anymore. If this message reached you at the perfect moment, hit like and allow the universe to recognize that you are ready. Even if you have gone through a long silence that caused you to question everything, what shifted today happened in the one place where truth can never remain hidden forever. This silent decision was deeply connected to you and not simply another passing emotion, which is exactly why some connections never fully leave your spirit behind. You may finally begin to understand why certain names continue echoing in your heart long after they were supposed to disappear completely. The next chapter beginning around your life is much closer than you currently realize, so remain open and do not pull your energy away. What comes next will explain far more than you once imagined possible. My dear friend, these peaceful, unseen moments are often the exact moments that completely transform everything. A powerful choice was made quietly inside a heart tied to yours, far away from the distractions and noise of everyday life. No message arrived, and no voice spoke your name aloud. Yet the force behind this decision is greater than any spoken confession could ever be. It arrived after endless uncertainty, internal battles, and emotional struggles they kept trying to win against themselves. They finally stopped questioning why your presence remained within them long after everything else slowly lost its meaning. They attempted to think logically and practically about everything, convincing themselves to move ahead only in their thoughts. But some connections never disappear simply because someone wishes they would, remaining patient until the heart finally accepts what the soul already knows deeply inside. Something within them has finally stopped running from the truth and started listening to what they can no longer deny. You may wonder why certain people continue returning to your mind even when life pushes you toward different paths, or why some connections always feel unfinished no matter how much silence grows between you. It is because certain bonds feel older than memory itself, deeper than logic, and stronger than timing alone. That is why this person cannot fully escape the emotions they carry for you. Something about your energy and presence touched their world in a way they were never able to explain through ordinary language. They tried giving it a simple explanation to make it feel smaller, calling it confusion, bad timing, or simple coincidence. But today it became much more difficult for them to completely deny, because they are beginning to realize that what they feel is not ordinary, not easily replaced, and not something they can continue ignoring forever. It forced them to finally face a truth they avoided for a very long time, about what you genuinely mean to them, and how deeply your energy affects them even through silence and distance. Once that truth becomes fully visible, it cannot simply disappear again. Which is why the energy between you is shifting now in a way that cannot move backward anymore. Even if nothing outwardly appears different yet, their thoughts are becoming more focused. Their emotions are becoming harder to suppress, and their silence feels heavier now because it is filled with things they are no longer comfortable hiding inside. Comment shift if you have also been sensing something changing within your connection recently. When a heart makes a real decision, life begins responding through signs like unexpected memories, vivid dreams, familiar songs, or sudden thoughts of you arriving without warning. These moments may appear small from the outside, but they are all part of the transformation quietly unfolding beneath the surface. Soon you may begin noticing something simple as well, something easy to miss if your attention is elsewhere, but it will carry a quiet confirmation of what changed today. When it appears, you will recognize it instantly, not because it arrives loudly, but because something deep within you will immediately understand its meaning. This journey was never only about waiting, but about the sacred moment when two souls finally move into alignment. It was always about perfect timing, the exact instant when truth becomes stronger than fear itself. So if your heart feels something drawing closer now, trust that feeling completely. You are not imagining this. You are sensing a genuine shift that has already begun inside them. After their first realization, an even deeper understanding started quietly growing within them, returning whenever they sit alone with their thoughts and continuously leading them back toward you. They are beginning to notice how often your name enters their mind, how certain places immediately remind them of you, and how even the smallest details now carry emotional meaning. This is no longer simple curiosity or temporary interest, but a deep recognition of the bond you both share. But recognition also brings vulnerability. And that is exactly what they spent so long protecting themselves from through distance, emotional control, and familiar habits. This frightens them slightly, not because they doubt you, but because they finally understand how important you truly are within their life. The walls they built around themselves no longer feel protective anymore, but instead feel like barriers keeping them emotionally trapped. The distance they maintained now feels painfully empty. They understand they cannot remain where they are forever, because emotionally their heart has already moved closer toward you. This changing energy is why you may suddenly experience a random thought, an intense dream, or a pull within your chest that feels deeply real and aligned. At this very moment, they are standing near a decision capable of changing how this connection enters reality. Balancing carefully between taking a brave step forward or falling back into another long silence. What makes this moment especially powerful is that they are now closer than ever to choosing courage instead of fear, and finally breaking the silence between you. Before they fully do that, there is still something from the past they must release first. Something unresolved has quietly prevented them from stepping completely toward you. Once that final obstacle begins fading away, everything between you may begin moving much faster than before, guided by a timing far greater than words alone can explain. Type yes if you believe your soulmate is thinking about you at this exact moment. The silence slowly begins to open apart. The distance between you becomes smaller, and the truth you always sensed starts taking real form within daily life itself. Then comes the moment of surrender. Not surrender to you as someone to chase endlessly, but surrender to the truth inside them that has waited patiently to be accepted completely. There are no longer endless circles spinning through their mind, no more excuses preventing movement, and no more pretending this connection can easily be explained away. Inside that peaceful stillness, understanding finally enters clearly into their thoughts, making it impossible to deny the way you made them feel truly understood without asking for anything in return. They are beginning to recognize that you were never simply another person passing through their journey, but a turning point and a reflection, showing them truths they were not emotionally prepared to face before. Once this understanding fully settles inside them, it starts transforming far more than their thoughts alone, influencing their daily choices as they slowly prepare to move toward you with greater honesty, intention, and emotional bravery. As this transformation unfolds inside them, synchronization awakens something inside you as well, creating an invisible bridge between both of you that does not rely only on conversation or physical closeness. Still, there remains one final test waiting ahead, a moment where they must decide whether to fully step into this connection or continue walking away from something requiring real emotional courage. That decision is closer than they understand, because unexpected reminders, meaningful conversations, and life situations are already guiding them toward finally breaking the old cycle once and for all. When that choice is finally made, you will no longer need to wonder endlessly, search for hidden meanings, or decode emotions buried beneath fear and silence. Everything will begin revealing itself naturally, clearly, and in ways your heart has quietly been preparing for all along. The confusion that once surrounded this connection will slowly begin fading away, replaced by a deeper certainty that feels calm instead of chaotic. What once felt distant will start feeling closer, and what once seemed impossible will begin unfolding in front of you step by step. There is a reason your intuition kept pulling you back toward this connection, even during moments when logic told you to let go completely. Your soul recognized something long before the mind could fully understand it. While time continued moving forward on the outside, something unfinished continued living beneath the surface between both of you. And now that hidden energy is beginning to rise again in a much stronger way than before. They are starting to realize that no distraction, no distance, and no attempt to move on has truly erased the impact you left on their heart. Certain emotions kept returning no matter how much they tried pushing them aside. And eventually, a person grows tired of fighting what feels real. That exhaustion is exactly what led them to this quiet inner turning point. You may notice their energy appearing differently soon, perhaps through unexpected contact, a change in behavior, or a feeling you cannot logically explain but instantly recognize. Pay attention to the subtle shifts, because the heart often speaks quietly before life reveals things openly. The universe does not always move through loud, dramatic moments. Sometimes the biggest changes arrive through silence, clarity, and small signs that slowly become impossible to ignore. This is why your own emotions may feel stronger lately, why memories seem more vivid, dreams more intense, and inner knowing more difficult to dismiss. Your energy has already begun sensing the movement taking place inside them before physical reality fully catches up. That invisible thread between you has never truly broken. It only waited for the right moment to pull both hearts back toward truth again. The energy moving toward you will begin to feel different somehow, lighter, clearer, stronger, and filled with more certainty than before, arriving in a way that quietly transforms everything between the two of you. And when this truth finally reaches you, it may not appear dramatic or overwhelming on the surface, yet it will carry the quiet confirmation your heart has secretly been waiting to receive for such a long time. Stay fully present until the very end, because the road ahead is opening now. The barriers are beginning to fall away, and what was always meant to find you is finally making its return. It may arrive through a small message, a phone call, or a few sincere words spoken at the right moment. But underneath those words, you will feel something impossible to misunderstand, something genuine, honest, and deeply felt. When that moment finally appears, so much from the past will suddenly begin making sense, and the long silence and distance between you will no longer feel meaningless or empty. It required true inner growth, deep self-reflection, and the courage to confront fears that once kept them silent for so long. They are no longer the same person who stayed hidden behind hesitation because they have crossed an important emotional boundary within themselves. And very soon, you are going to feel that difference clearly. Their voice may tremble slightly or pause while they search for the right words to explain what has quietly lived inside them all this time, revealing that it is real, vulnerable, human, and sincere. And as you listen closely, something deep inside you will recognize it immediately, confirming what your soul quietly sensed all along. This connection was never one-sided. It continued living inside both of you, even during the moments when there seemed to be no proof at all. And in that exact moment, old pain slowly begins losing its grip over your heart. The questions that once occupied your thoughts every single day suddenly stop carrying the same weight they once did. Yet another important choice now rises before you, one that belongs entirely to you. Because this is not only about them finally choosing you, it is also about you deciding what happens next. Will you respond through old wounds and lingering fear from the past? Or will you step into this new chapter with the openness, wisdom, and emotional strength your heart has gained through everything you survived? Your choice carries equal importance, because what unfolds from this point forward is being created in real time through the courage both of you bring into it. Comment recognition if you have felt this quiet pull toward someone special recently. Deep inside yourself, you already know this is a rare opening where two paths that once drifted apart are slowly being guided back together through truth and honesty. As the waiting finally comes to an end, you must now face the unavoidable question of what you truly desire from this connection when no one else is around and you are left alone with your thoughts. Do you allow yourself to fully open to it, or do you protect yourself just enough to maintain control? Every answer shapes what comes next, because a connection this deep cannot survive through half-effort, emotional walls, or endless hesitation. It asks for the same courage from you that it once demanded from them, moving both of you beyond fantasy and into something honest and real. It asks for presence. It asks for truth. It asks for courage from both hearts, gently inviting you to meet this connection exactly where it stands today. You are not being asked to chase anyone or prove your worth anymore, but instead to step into a space untouched by old versions of yourselves, old misunderstandings, and repeating painful patterns from the past. Here, an entirely new beginning becomes possible. A healthier way of loving, communicating, and speaking truth without hiding behind fear. But you must also remember that this connection is not only about romance. It is also a mirror reflecting your deepest desires, your hidden fears, and your ability to love deeply without completely losing yourself in the process. As this chapter unfolds, pay close attention to your own inner world, because the choice ahead of you will shape the next phase of your life more than you realize. Once both of you stop treating this connection like a puzzle to constantly solve and begin seeing it as a life that can actually be built together, the energy changes completely. It becomes calmer, steadier, softer, and far more clear. A deep stillness settles over everything around you, bringing the kind of certainty that only arrives after long emotional storms finally begin fading away. Inside that stillness, you will start seeing them differently. Not as the person who confused you or remained silent for too long, but as someone who walked through their own darkness in order to become more aware of themselves. And just as importantly, you will begin seeing yourself differently too. Stronger, wiser, more grounded, more connected to what your heart truly needs instead of what fear once demanded. You will slowly realize this entire journey was never only about longing for someone else. It was also about becoming a deeper and stronger version of yourself. If this connection had unfolded too early, before either of you were emotionally ready, the truth between you could have easily slipped away. But now there is a quieter balance between you both, a calm understanding that no longer needs constant reassurance. From this peaceful place, a rare kind of trust begins forming naturally, built not through empty promises or dramatic words, but through steady actions and consistency matching honest intentions. And as this trust continues growing stronger, it slowly creates a true feeling of home inside one another, a place where both of you can finally feel safe, understood, and completely seen without pretending to be someone else. This is what hearts are truly searching for in the end. Not only excitement that disappears quickly, but deep understanding that remains steady through time. Stay connected to this feeling as the waiting finally fades away, because you are stepping into the truth both of you truly deserve. Not just attraction, but emotional safety. Not only passion, but a kind of peace strong enough to last. And when something genuine begins rooting itself this deeply, the urgency slowly disappears. The panic softens. The need to overanalyze every tiny detail begins fading away. Because what is truly meant for you does not require endless confusion in order to survive. Real things bring clarity instead of constant fear. Even so, there is another gentle truth continuing to reveal itself along this path. This journey is not about holding on to each other through fear or desperation. It is about choosing each other again and again, freely, without force, without losing yourselves, and without turning love into a painful battlefield. The strongest relationships are never the ones demanding everything immediately. They are built slowly, honestly, patiently, with enough space for both people to breathe, heal, and continue growing. That is why what comes next is greater than simple reunion. It is the creation of something entirely new between you. Many people believe the hardest part is simply finding the right person. But often the deeper challenge begins afterward, when two people must continue choosing openness, understanding, patience, and growth together, even while old habits try returning to the surface again. This is the space you are entering now. Share this video if you feel someone else needs to receive this message today. A space where love is no longer a question mark hanging over your head, but a living energy that responds to the way it is nurtured, protected, respected, and cared for every single day. And yes, old fears may still whisper from time to time. Old patterns rarely disappear overnight. Moments of doubt may still visit you unexpectedly. Misunderstandings may still happen now and then. But when those moments arrive, another, deeper decision quietly appears before you. Will you react from the version of yourself that once lived in fear? Or will you respond from the stronger person you have become through all of this? Because you are not the same person who once stood lost inside confusion and uncertainty. You carry awareness now. You carry wisdom. You carry lessons learned through experience. You carry the growing ability to love someone deeply without abandoning yourself in the process. And as both of you continue moving forward together, something even more beautiful slowly begins forming between you. Rhythm, quiet harmony, a silent understanding that does not always require many words to exist, a safety where silence no longer feels threatening or uncomfortable, a steadiness where simple presence says more than dramatic promises ever could. And hidden inside all of this is an even deeper truth. This connection did not enter your life to complete you. It arrived to reveal you to yourself, to show you the depth of your own heart, to reveal the strength hidden inside your patience, to teach you the difference between loving through fear and loving through truth. Once you truly understand that, something changes permanently inside you. You stop clinging so tightly to outcomes. You stop fearing loss the same way you once did. You begin realizing that what is truly aligned with you does not need constant force to remain in your life. It stays because it is real, not because it is controlled or trapped. And as more time passes, you slowly begin recognizing the difference between temporary emotion and lasting connection. Temporary emotion arrives loudly and disappears just as quickly. Real connection grows quietly, patiently, and steadily over time. It survives silence. It survives distance. It survives the moments that weaker connections could never endure, because what is genuine continues growing even when life becomes difficult. That is the kind of connection unfolding here now. Not something rushed, not something built only on fantasy or intensity, but something deeper, calmer, and much more lasting than either of you fully understood before. And because of that, this next chapter carries the possibility of becoming stronger than anything you imagined while you were still waiting for clarity to arrive.